Welcome to this video as we think about the question, what is in a name? We're quite used to thinking about names having meanings, particularly when children are born and when a baby is given a new name. We'll often ask, what does that name mean? And viruses and diseases have names too, names which have a meaning. And I wonder whether you've stopped and thought, I wonder why it's called coronavirus. What does that mean? Well, we'll come back to that in a few moments. But first, I want us to think about another question. I want us to think about the question, who is in charge? Who is in charge? Well, we as humans like to think that we're in charge. We hate it when it feels like control is snatched out of our hands and when it feels like we don't have a say in a situation when we're at the mercy of others. We like to be in control, and it's really difficult when we're not. Take, for example, if you've ever been a victim of crime. Think about having your house burgled. Often it's not so much the loss of possessions, although that is hard and difficult. It's the fact that in our own homes, in the safety of our sanctuary, where we are in control and where we hold authority, that's taken and snatched from us. That is incredibly difficult to feel like we're hopeless and helpless in a situation, that we could not do anything to change it, that somehow even in the safety of our homes, we are unsafe. And so, most of the time we like to think that we're in control. Sure, we don't have total control over all things. We can't make it rain when we want it to rain. We can't make it snow when we want it to snow. But by and large, we are pretty much in control. We're able to chart our own lives and our destiny. At least that was the case until 2020, when coronavirus charged onto the scene, when it flipped our world upside down. It threw the tables over, knocked everything out of place, and wrested control out of our hands. And doesn't it feel that way now, that perhaps coronavirus is in charge? That coronavirus is in control? Let's go back to the meaning of names. Let's think about coronavirus. Why is it called coronavirus? It's a family of viruses, viruses, and they're named coronavirus because of the way they look. Corona is drawing from the Latin word, which we use now in the word coronation. When we think about the coronation of the queen or of a monarch, they're crowned. And so if we look at this picture right in front of us and appearing on your screen, this is a picture of the virus, too small for our human eyes to see nakedly. But with technology, we're able to look into these tiny, tiny little virus. And what do they look like? Well, a crown of club-shaped spikes is how those who do this research in science, that's what they call it. Can you see how it looks like there's a crown of spikes around this little virus? And so because it looks a bit like a crown, it's wearing this crown around itself, so it's called the corona crown virus, as if somehow this was a virus that is vying for control. It wants the throne. It wants to be in charge. And so now there's this epic battle between, us and the coronavirus. Humanity, a battle. We use the language of battle and war. Even some of our leaders around the world have called it war, and as if we're in wartime. And it's the battle not between nations, but a battle between humanity and coronavirus. We will beat this. The language of battle. The battle between coronavirus and the human race. And the question is, who's going to win? Who is really, truly going to be in charge? Who will be king in this situation? Well, neither. Neither coronavirus or humanity will be in charge. Because in fact, we were never really, truly in charge. Coronavirus is not king. And we are not king. There is a far greater king, far greater than coronavirus, far greater than us. And that is the Lord Jesus Christ. He is King. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. In the Bible, in the book of Revelation, at the end of the Bible, we're given a picture, a glimpse into the heaven realities of this world, into the true reality of what life in this world really is about. And in chapter 19, we're given this picture of the heavens opening, and then there's a rider riding forth on a horse, and on his head are many crowns, and he is given a name, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's the Lord Jesus. He rides forth in power, majesty, and authority with many crowns on his head as the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords. And before him, every other crown will be laid low. Every other crown will be laid at his feet, and he will rule and have dominion over it all. Every other crown is subject to him. And that is good news. It is great news. It is wonderful news. Why? Because, well, coronavirus, this king, that crown, the crown of the virus, seeks to bring death, seeks to bring tragedy and suffering. The kingship of Jesus, he longs to give life and light and hope. We read elsewhere in the Bible, James 1, that actually not only does Jesus have many crowns, but he offers a crown of life. James chapter 1 says that Jesus will give the crown of life to all those who love him. You see, it's a great thing that the Lord Jesus is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Because with him in control, with him in charge, he offers life to the whole world. So what's in a name? Well, there's more than meets the eye. There's much more than meets the eye. Coronavirus, this crown virus, seeking to be in control, seeking to take charge, seeking to bring about death and destruction to all that it touches. But there is a far greater king. And so I leave you with this question. Who is king? Who is king in your life? Is it you? Is it coronavirus? Or will you recognize that there is a King of Kings and a Lord of Lords, the Lord Jesus Christ, who has received the name which is above every name? He is the King, and he offers to give us life today if we would trust him and if we would love him.